think it's recording. And I think the sound is connected.
Good.
Hello, world.
Good. Hello.
This is my welcome to Living Room Chats. This is
Tim's Talks.
It's Tim's Talks from now on. Anyways, we're sitting in our Peter and I's living room. We are T-minus 4 days from moving out. Peter is in the background, by the way. Yeah. Today is Monday. What's it called? February 24th. It is 9 p.m. My good friend Miles has come to visit us for the weekend. And I'm going to take this chance to test out my camera equipment and the recording by doing an impromptu interview.
Nice. It's always great to do that with just a willing subject, I suppose.
Yes, truly. Okay, so Miles.
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Miles. I run a little channel on YouTube called MilesLargeTV, and known on the internet for my guitar playing endeavors. I don't know what else.
Get the guitar in here. Get my guitar in here. I don't know if it's tuned, but
that's fine.
Get it in here.
I play anything.
We're going to have you improv whatever the tuning is.
Okay.
All right.
Let's think of something here.
I feel like you're a producer right now.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see here.
This is gonna be sick. This is gonna be some epic content.
Yeah,
I can tell. Or it's gonna be at least
the real master play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the real master. Yeah, that's not even. Then there's a fourth instead of a fifth. Oh well.
You'll get there. It's all right.
All right. Well, anyways, the crowd goes wild. Well, thank you for demonstrating. Well, anyways, what type of video do you usually create?
So pretty much got my start making short form content, vertical content, I suppose, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and as far as what kind of content within that, I suppose it has been guitar covers. You have a lot of skits, kind of meme-y sort of videos. Those are the kind of the videos that do well. Also have just random discussions. I used to do tutorials. I kind of stopped because it's kind of demanding, and a lot of people ask a lot of things I don't know. So I stuck with a lot of tutorials. I stuck with things that I just knew pretty much. But yeah, some talking videos here and there. It's been kind of a variety. I like to make a little bit of a variety, but I also don't like to necessarily stray too far from what I'm known for, I suppose. So there is that.
Cool.
It's kind of finding that right balance, I guess.
Cool. So you said you're on TikTok, you're on YouTube.
Yes.
You make a mixture of content, but they all relate back to the guitar, right?
Pretty much guitar or music, but mainly guitar because that's my primary instrument.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, when did you first start creating videos? On YouTube?
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think, man, that was... How old was I when I did that? I remember...
You remember the first video that you ever posted?
Yeah, I don't know if I remember the first video, but I remember the first one that I thought was kind of wow, I'm actually... I felt proud of what I'd made. And I know there was it must have been... Let's see, I think the TOS means you have to be 13 years of age to make a YouTube account. I think I was 12. I think I lied. Yeah. Whoa. So I think I lied for 1 year, and
we've got a rule breaker.
I know, just sorry, but I don't. The video must be somewhere. I don't know. I don't have it on me. It's not on YouTube anymore, I don't think. But there's a program on Mac called iStop Motion. And you can basically, what you can do is you can film, you can take pictures for a stop motion video and just like import it into the program, which will like kind of auto like make it for you basically. Or you can use the Max camera. So what I had done was my brother and I, we had basically made it was literally called Random Fight Stop Motion. And it was a stop motion video of this like fight that we were doing, like it was kind of just like silly, whatever we could come up with really. And yeah, so that was kind of the idea behind that. And I think it got like 600 views when I first uploaded it, which, it would have been smart if I had kept it going, at that point, but I did not.
And this was on YouTube.
This is on YouTube,
this is like early days of YouTube.
This is early days of YouTube. I don't think anyone ever downloaded it, but I still have it somewhere probably. We'll probably, and it's like, it was just in our kitchen where the computer sat, like normally. It was just like a view of our kitchen and we were fighting in the kitchen. I think someone had like a Swiffer, like, one of those duster things at some point and was like, and then like someone would like do a slap or like whatever. I can't remember exactly the details on that, but yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were creating entertaining content.
Yeah, it was
young age.
Yeah, it was stop motions. I think that was like the main thing for sure.
Did you do like several stop motion videos?
Yeah. There was a couple different ones. The random fight one, there was two different ones. The first one we made, and there was one with that we made my brother and like his couple of his friends that had stayed over like the night or whatever. I know I did quite a lot of Lego ones, and I did quite a lot of Transformer ones because that's what I was like into when I was a kid. So there's still, I think I have one on my YouTube, but it's like privated or unlisted, but it's there. Yeah. I can always undo that if I would like to.
Is this on your like current channel? Like you have these
so.
videos like way back?
No, some of them were like
unlisted. Now.
No, some of them, a lot of those were like my old account, which I don't even know if is even up anymore. It was my old account was Stop Motioner 1. Was my old account, yeah. Okay. But I don't remember. I had a couple different accounts through the years. There was one that was guitar playing ninja as well, nice. When that was kind of like in vogue.
It was. I think like Mystery Guitar Man. And stuff was popular.
So stuff like that aesthetic. Literally, probably right, straight from his name. And he was one of my biggest influences when I like got into music and sort of in between the stop motion and the music part. And then eventually, it just became all music. And then MilesLargeTV, which was a channel created second semester my freshman year in college.
Okay, so that was created like...
That was in 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
So that was the birth of your current channel.
Yeah, which is funny because it wasn't even music at first, it was just vlogging. Yeah, it had nothing to do with
what
music.
Kind of vlogs? Like...
It was me sitting awkwardly in my room, and then I just like, basically like just chat about whatever was on my mind, which is kind of like, I guess, sort of a symptom of the time. Maybe.
I think that was a popular type of video.
Yeah. It didn't hit, that's for sure. It didn't take off, and I didn't continue it for that long. But eventually, I don't know when the music stuff came in. Maybe like a year or two after that. Maybe during summer, I did some stuff. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So you transitioned to playing music like for your videos sometime in college.
Yeah.
But when did you first start playing guitar? Like when did you first get into music?
So when I first got into music was when I had drugged my dad's alto saxophone out of our hall closet, messy hall closet at home. Maybe you can relate to that just in general as a human thing. But it was an alto saxophone. I thought it was interesting. And in the 5th grade, when it came time to join school band, I was like, well, that's what I want to play because we have one, and so why not? And so I joined. I wasn't really that motivated. When it came to, I did perform in the performance, whatever we had at the end of the year. But when it came to 6th grade, I almost didn't even join band. This probably would have been the part where that would have like killed my music career completely. But my dad was like really encouraging. He wanted me to join band. He wanted me to be involved in things, which is very, I'm very grateful that he pushed me to do different stuff. And so, I joined band, was really into band, ended up being, first chair by the end of the whole thing for both jazz and like concert band. And then in the 7th grade, my dad bought me my first guitar, which is actually still featured in a lot of my videos. It's the one with all the stickers on it. And also my first amp. He didn't buy me an acoustic guitar first. He made the mistake of buying me an electric guitar. So that's where my sort of rebellious stage, came into play.
Well, it was probably a good thing he got you the electric.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It was a good fit for
Yeah, definitely.
being a angsty teen.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So you started playing music in middle school.
Yeah.
Eventually, you switched to making content around music in
Yeah.
college. But you also mentioned like your first few videos, vlogging type videos.
Right,
They
right.
didn't really take off.
No.
Did you have like a reason why you started creating videos and posting them online in the first place? Was there something that you were hoping for out of that
Right.
experience?
I mean, I suppose, yeah, there's, of course, like if you're going to post something publicly, I suppose you want something to come of it, right? So like, I feel like for me, I'm not really sure the sentiment I had. It's really hard to remember what my thought process was back in the day as far as that went. But I think I just wanted to, I mean, I've always, even at that point, I always enjoyed creating stuff. And even though music wasn't necessarily in my content, like up to that point, I know there was a lot of music projects that I had on my computer that, even they're like old demos or whatever. And, maybe not good to listen to now at this point. It'd be interesting to hear some of those. I think I go back to, probably still have those. But yeah, probably just like the desire to create and just I just like to make stuff, and it's always been like it's something to me that's never been like work. I never feel like I'm like, oh God, like I gotta go like post another video now. It's like oh yeah, like what can I think of that would be like good to make? What would be fun that I would enjoy making, but also my audience would enjoy, because like to me I don't like to make content that I don't enjoy making. I feel like that's like the number one rule for me. But I mean, some people maybe, but that's just a bare minimum.
Yeah. Have you like made content before that you're like, oh, like I don't want to do this ever again? Like not my type of content. Or...
Yeah, maybe not in the way that like, oh, I don't want to do it again because I didn't enjoy it. There are some videos that I've done where they were short videos, and they're only like a minute long at max for shorts and reels and whatnot. But some of them like took like an hour to edit, like a 1 minute video for an hour. Like, and I'm kind of like, okay, well this has to do really well, otherwise I'm not going to do it again. But they have done well. They weren't like my best performing videos, but they were like, they did do decently well to where I was like, okay, well I guess I could do one of these every once in a while. But I will say that actually, yeah, when I did start, part of the reason why, I didn't necessarily want to. I was kind of hesitant to jump into making content because I think part of me knew, because I was going to do covers.
Yeah.
And I know so many different like songs by so many different bands that I've liked over the years. And the thing is, I was really kind of like, man, a lot of these bands, like I feel like I'm not really into anymore. And a lot of this music, like I feel like I don't really like, I don't enjoy it in the same way that I enjoyed it when I first heard it. So I was kind of like, wow, this is kind of like, I know if I do start to do this, then I will just have to like just keep doing it, because this is what people are going to want, because I'm going to be known for this and people are going to ask me for it. But I think what had changed really was I actually found myself like, when I did revisit some of these old songs, I did actually kind of like, wow, that was kind of cool. Like I remembered how much I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And it felt like really nice, and then and it was really cool to see people being receptive to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like what sort of like drove away the hesitation of like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to like do this or whatever, like because then I'm gonna have to keep doing it. But then it ended up being really nice, and everyone's really enjoyed it and been very kind on the internet. So yeah.
Got it. So it sounds like you enjoyed how like, it was kind of documenting a point in time for you when you like, enjoyed a certain type of music, so you could kind of go back, you could look at it and be like, oh yeah, that's why I used to like. And then at the same time, people were like engaging, and then you could like kind of like connect with people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I also figured that like since I know so many songs, how to play so many different songs, and of all these bands that I've covered, I figured that like in my mind, what had kind of pushed me over the edge too was I was like, okay, what I can do is I can just make every type of video I can think of for these songs, and then I never have to like touch these songs again, if that's how I feel about it. But then, the more I enjoyed it, the more I thought like, well, maybe I want to go back to this band, revisit this song, revisit this band, revisit this album or whatever. And so that then it became like, well, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, or not as not daunting, or like, I actually enjoyed it. So that was good for that.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, let's talk a little bit about like your content creation process.
Sure.
Like how do you plan a video? Like what goes on in your head?
Yeah.
Are you like strategizing for weeks in advance, or is it kind of just like spur of the moment? You're like, oh, I have an idea. Let me just like record this.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
Where are you on that spectrum?
I would say it's a mix of both. It depends on the idea, and it depends on like kind of what I'm feeling at the moment. So when I first started, I was like one of the things that kind of inspired me was this girl who plays bass on Instagram. I can't remember what her name is, but she's known for doing like here's my like couple of favorite riffs from this album. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. Why don't I do like my favorite riffs from like Radiohead, OK Computer, Nirvana, Nevermind, or like all these like famous things that I know how to play. And because a lot of the times when I learned songs, I was so into the album that I just like learned a bunch of songs from the album. Like whatever songs I liked, I would just learn them. And so like a lot of the albums I was like I'm capable of doing this, so like let's do that. A lot of those videos was very more long-term strategic planning, like thinking like, okay, well, and it was also kind of like I had to like experiment with posting some at first and then kind of feeling out how the algorithm would take the video or whatnot. So like I started, so I posted like a Nirvana album one day, and then like a couple days later I posted another one, but I realized the second one didn't do as well as the first, and I think it's because the frequency of posting that type of video is what can like basically lead to less views, I suppose, on the video. The algorithm was like, well, we pushed this one that did well, like maybe we're not going to push this one so much. So that's what led me to be like, okay, maybe I can start doing a variety. But then obviously I had to come up with different ideas if I was going to do a variety. So I was like, okay, well, what else can I do that is like similar to my content? And that's when someone had asked me a question about how to play like one of the songs that I covered. And I was like, really hesitant to answer it because in a video form, because it's like on TikTok, this is really a convenient way to like reply to comments. And so I was like, I didn't really want to, because I didn't want to talk in front of the camera. It's weird that I started doing vlogging and then somehow got like camera shy in a way that I was like, like I don't know if like people are gonna enjoy this, like people are gonna want to hear this from me. But I was like, what, I'll just do it and I'll just see how it goes. And it actually was like fine. And so I was like, okay, I mean, it wasn't like amazing views or anything, but that's not what I was expecting. I was just trying to feel out like how receptive people would be to it. And so I was like, okay, well, like that's cool. So that kind of helped on that. It was, I guess, more spur of the moment for that. As far as like more planning, yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ideas that I've had like for skits especially where I have to like, I think of a song. And I think of like something about the song that like people might find funny or they might find entertaining in a way or like, can relate to, or like a specific part of the song that they just like a specific like musical part. And then I think, okay, like maybe there's like a story behind the song that I had like learned about like in the studio this band was recording. For example, there's this one Radiohead song it's a big legend that no one knows if this is true or not, and they'll never tell, but the legend is that the lead singer recorded this song while he was like plastered, like drunk on the floor, he's screaming to the microphone on the floor. And I was like, okay, this is a legend that like is kind of familiar with the Radiohead fan base, so maybe I can make a skit about that. And so like the skit was basically just like almost think of it like a two panel comic of like the first panel is here's the band playing the song or whatever, and then the last guy is like kind of like looking over in the corner, and the second panel is the guy is just on the floor and he's like singing on the floor because he's drunk or whatever. And then like I was like, I don't know if this is even going to be that great, but it did well. And that type of video is probably my most popular type of video. Yeah, of where it's like the two sort of panel like type situation thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I think, and then part of it is like there's a lot of thought that went into that too, because I was like, okay, people will probably click off of this video if a certain amount of time elapses. So it can't like the setup can't be too long, otherwise like you're gonna lose like half the audience already. So like I basically devised that as long as the setup is like 7 seconds max, because it can't be too short either, because like people have short attention spans sometimes when it comes to TikTok, but it's like they have to like be able to read the thing and be able to understand what's happening, and so then you can like deliver the punchline. So it had required a lot of planning and a lot of like sort of thought when I was editing the video, but yeah, so sometimes content is like that. But then at the same time, I feel like I was also focused on output. So I wanted to make sure that I could be able to post frequently. So I couldn't always do that type of video where I had to sit there and think about it a lot. Like the hour editing ones, like I couldn't always just like, keep putting them out. So I always had to just like think about what I was going to do before I did it.
Got it. So it sounds like you had a couple different sources of inspiration. Like you would look at other videos and see
Definitely.
what other people were doing, and you would like try and do your own spin on it. And then you also had your I guess you have deep understanding of certain songs.
Yeah.
And like artists.
Yeah.
So you kind of knew what people,
Right.
like the references that people
exactly.
get.
Yeah.
And then you turned that into a formula of like one type of video.
Exactly.
Like the 2-panel video.
Definitely.
Essentially.
Yeah.
And then that way you could kind of like keep creating content around these
Exactly.
frameworks.
Yeah.
And then hopefully because you're trying to post frequently as well.
Right.
That way you can just build out a bunch that have variety as well. All right. Cool. So like posting frequency, is there like a reason, is there like a specific goal that you have for how often you post? Is there a reason why you try to post that often?
So I'm a big believer in like consistency, and it doesn't matter what you're doing in life. If it's you're learning a new skill, if you're just, I don't know, I guess certain jobs require this as well. But I was thinking like I have to be, if I'm going to be posting, if I'm going to be like try to be a creator like on one of these things, I have to be consistent in what I post, because like the internet is very like short-lived, I suppose. Like you can post something that goes viral and then people forget about you in like a week. So like I was like, okay, how am I able to or how much am I able to put out that is comfortable with me, not having I won't get tired, but also like I don't want to have to like just like post like too little and then will be like forgotten. So my first thing is, when I first started posting really on TikTok, but I also just basically uploaded everywhere else, is I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post one short every day for a year. And I want to see how far that'll take me. And so I did do that. I did end up meeting that goal. And some days I actually posted two. Because the tutorials were easy to record, because it was just like, hey, me sit and talk in front of a camera, like hardly any editing really. Just like in the TikTok editor, maybe add captions or something.
Yeah.
So I did meet that goal, and I can't remember what my view counts and whatnot was at the time, but to me it was well enough to merit like, okay, well maybe I can like continue to do this. But obviously, posting one thing every single day is kind of taxing. So I did switch at some point. I don't remember. I don't think it was exactly a year after I did it. I think it was a couple months later. I did switch to every other day, because I was also like, my YouTube audience is growing, and I wanted to be able to put out long form videos. And so that's when I started to do longer videos like once a month. So yeah, it was basically just consistency was what led me to post every single day.
So there's this like process over a course of a year where you were just like pumping out a ton of content.
Right.
Like, was there ever a point where you're like, I don't know if I should keep doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a question I still ask myself, honestly, but it's something that like, yeah, I mean, I think especially if you get stuck and you start to post more of the same like thing like pretty often, I feel like it's easy to get stuck, which is how I did start to feel. I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to think, like my first year, I mean, it was basically just like in my mind, like I said before, just like cover every single type of content that I can, or every single album I know how to play. And so like that pretty much was exhausted like by the end of the 1 year cycle. Maybe there's probably still few, and there's probably still even more that I haven't posted yet still. But yeah, I think that there's it is a question that does come up every once in a while. I do ask myself. But what kind of keeps me motivated in that regard, I guess, is just to kind of remind myself like how far I've come, and to like kind of like just think like, where was I like a year ago, and like to think like where was my following a year ago, and I always like am astonished and amazed at like how my following has always like increased. It's never like, I always wake up with more followers and more views and more everything that I've ever had, more listeners on even like Spotify or something like that. So it is pretty crazy to think about that. I'm really grateful for that. But it's really, honestly, the audience feedback is like I would say a big factor for that, because that's what led me to believe like, okay, well, people want to see this, and they want to see this of me and stuff. So
Are there any comments that you've received or like interactions that you've had with
Right.
your audience that were particularly memorable?
Oh man, I think it's not one like a specific one, but it's a specific type of comment that I've received quite a few of, which is people will tell me, you're my favorite creator on this app, and that to me like blows my mind, because of all the creators on any social media platform, like you pick me, like I'm just like I'm just some guy. Like to me, I'm just like, I don't really think too much of like my following and anything, but like it is kind of amazing when people say that to me. I'm like I just don't know what to say. I'm really grateful for that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a flip side to that? Have you like gotten any hate comments or
So
like?
so I get quite a few. It's not well. Okay, let me preface this by saying it's always I always say I'm grateful for my audience, and it's always just a sea of overwhelmingly positive comments, like with a few just negative ones in there like every once in a while. It's not common, but I mean there are a few ones that are like the ones that like to be like correct like tiny little details in my video, like, oh well, he didn't play the chord like this way, he played it this way, and it's like, well, it's the same chord, like I don't think it really matters that much, and I'm not that person, so I don't have to play it that way, but there's that. There'll be some weird ones, some negative ones. Usually the best thing that I do for those, depending on how heinous it is, if it's truly heinous, then I'll probably delete it.
What is the most heinous comment you've received?
I can't think of. I mean, I had one today that was so weird, because like I made a video recently that I was just like basically, hey, I'm asking my audience like, hey, what would you like to see from me? Like just like because I don't know how long if the TikTok ban is still going to be in effect in a couple months or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, while we're still here, like, what would you like to see? Is there something you would like to see me cover? Is there something you would like to see me just like a question you could ask me, like that I could respond in a video, like just treat this as like an ongoing AMA type thing. And I think some guy was like, oh, I'd like to see you in like a really skimpy outfit, like in black, because I think it matches with your eyes or something like that. Like I read that today. I think I got that one today, and I just read that, and I was
that's
like,
too good.
yeah, and I was like. But at the same time, it's like I feel like I have to respond to it in some way. I have to be the person that responds to it, just like just like the look at the camera and like with the comment like in the video, and just like seriously.
No, that's quality content.
Yeah,
right
no,
there.
like straight up, yeah. So like you got to do that. I mean, there have been some like kind of mean-ish ones. Like people on the internet can be really mean, but like, I mean, every once in a while there'd be like a weird like. Some relation to like my race or something like that, where I'm just like, oh, like that's like that's an automatic like block or delete or whatever, like that's ridiculous. The ones that are truly ridiculous, I ignore them. Some I will reply to if they're just kind of like dumb, if it's just kind of like silly, like and it doesn't really like, it's not I'm not trying to be mean back, but if someone's like kind of like just kind of being like weird in a particular way, like I'll just like say something like, hey bro, like chill, or like whatever.
Yeah.
But if there is a really particular bad comment, I will screenshot it. I will send it to all my friends, and we basically will all collectively make fun of this person. If that, so I mean, it's the least they deserve, like in my mind.
At least you can get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To me, yeah, and I always laugh. I always don't take comments super seriously. I think another one, now that I'm thinking about it, was like, oh man, did you study like English when you were in Japan? Because your English is really good. And I was just like, sure.
Yeah.
I really didn't know what to say.
You studied English in Japan.
Studied English in Japan.
Studied English in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. Studied English
at home.
At home,
Yeah. It's a good English study session. Throughout life.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to receive comments like that. It's like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess they just assumed you're Japanese.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common too, because like there's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of songs I cover Japanese, a lot of Japanese bands I like and stuff. So
that makes sense.
Talk about study abroad in Japan as well. They know I've done that. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So where are you at today? Like, how would you like describe the current state of the content that you're creating,
Right.
like your channels?
Right.
How are you feeling generally?
I'm feeling all right.
Yeah.
I would say like, okay, so as far as my content, it's still like a short video every other day.
Yeah.
Sometimes, every day, like depending on what I slip in and what I'm just like, oh, I guess I'll just post this, like why not? A long form video, I did post 2 long form videos this past month, which is new for me. It was kind of a lot of work. I don't know if I'll continue it. Right now, I'm kind of looking at 2 other ways to broaden the sort of income stream.
Yeah.
We just started making ad revenue, so that's exciting. But it's not really a lot. So I was thinking, like, okay, well, merch, I could do merch because I know people have asked for merch and people do want merch. A sizable amount of people want merch, and that'd be exciting. Thought about streaming, which would be an investment in like a new computer basically, and seeing where that leads. That would be, I think that's probably the riskier part of the things that I have in mind as far as the future of my content is because like, I mean like obviously the investment in a computer isn't necessarily bad because I can always use it for other things, but for this in particular is what it's for streaming, games and stuff and whatnot. And so I'm just sort of like mildly concerned that the streaming thing won't take off and that people won't really want to like check me out as far as like a streaming thing. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard, I've had friends tell me that I could be really good at talking for long periods of time. Not like a mean sort of like, oh man, you go on and on, but like I think like, you would be good at like, doing this if you were going to do it. And so I was like, okay, well, that's good to know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good thing we are on Tim Talks right now, where you can do
Absolutely.
plenty of talking.
I can yap all I
You can
want.
yap all day.
Yeah.
Or at least for the next probably hour and a half
Yeah,
before
there
my
you go.
battery dies.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay, so thinking about like how you are, what the stuff that you're working on today, where would you say like most of your energy goes to, like most of your time and energy?
It's interesting because recently I put a lot of energy towards like my own original music, actually, because I feel like I've been neglecting that for the past like, I don't know, almost 2 years now because I started making content stuff. I feel like the content stuff takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And so like, every time I'm like done for the day for making that, I'm like, okay, maybe I should go like record something, a demo or like, do whatever. I feel like gassed, like absolutely just tired. And so I'm just like, okay, well, I could just, I keep like just basically pushing it off. So I have recorded like a couple little demos here and things like that I kind of want to get out at some point because I did kind of say like, oh yeah, I'll release something this year. I don't know exactly what as far as like if this one song or like a whole album. A whole album's kind of daunting, but I do want to kind of do that. But as far as my content goes, I mean, it's still kind of more the same, more just covers. I do kind of like want to branch out to different ideas. Like I like the idea and the formula that I have for the 2-panel video idea because it does well. That I do want to branch out. It's mainly just music based, but I do want to branch out to other like types of like media type things or whatever. Like I guess like movies, like different movies I can think of like for jokes for that, or like games, video games. I feel like I could think of quite a few for that. Or just like even just like a daily life like type thing. I know that kind of thing would probably reach a wider audience, but obviously I still want to maintain the core audience that I have that's music related. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how that play out, or even just like related to just jokes about the guitar itself. Like I could do that too, which is I know is a very popular thing for people to do as far as music content creators. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Obviously, we can't predict the future.
Yeah.
But in an ideal world, where would you be in 5 years?
Wow. I'm hoping that, something will come of this, this audience that I've built and this presence that I've built, I guess, online. Maybe some kind of sponsorship type thing, maybe some kind of like brand deal, or like, I don't know how big you got to be for that. But I'm hoping that I can grow my audience enough to where I can start to be able to do this just like full time. It is kind of daunting because obviously it is like a total commitment, like, Yeah. But it's one of those things where like, I don't think I've really told a lot of people about this, but I had a dream like one night, like way before I started to do this content. It was like at least a year or maybe a couple months or something. But I had a dream, and I don't really remember what the dream was about. But I just remember waking up from the dream and just having the singular thought in my mind that was like, I would be like very disappointed in myself if I didn't just like try to like do this, which is like, obviously I've been making content for a long time. But I don't think I did it in a way that was very consistent or like was very like, okay, like, like at least not as consistent as this like right now has ever been. So this is probably the longest I've gone that I've been like, my output is pretty much like good, like as it was like when I first started, or at least, if not like every day, it's still pretty like, still raking in views and still bringing in new audience and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see something come of this at some point. Sooner than later, obviously, because money is, nice to have. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, it is a commitment. I'm happy that I'm able to do it, and yeah.
Well, if you could tell future you from 5 years from now something today,
Okay.
What would you want to tell him?
I don't know. Don't be a sellout. stick to your, like, be a sellout, but like be a sellout that's like, advocate and advertise for the things that like you like, that like, will appeal to your, that will appeal to your audience. But also like don't just be like a, don't be like a grifter. Like I guess like, don't go crazy and like be like just start grifting like lifestyle like products or like something like that. Like yeah, I think that's probably good. Just stay true to yourself. Like I think that's like the main thing. It's good life advice just in general, I feel like.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
sitting
you.
down. This was fun.
This was fun.
Well, thank you for being the first guest
This is crazy.
on my new. I have no idea what this is. Maybe it'll be a podcast or something.
Okay.
A video podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Let's call it that.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a really good time.
I really appreciate it.
If I end up publishing this, where can people find you?
People can find me. I'm known as MilesLarge or MilesLargeTV. That's no caps, no spaces, all run together. That's on YouTube. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. And you can also just find my original music at MilesLarge. That is Miles space large on Spotify, Apple Music, Bandcamp, YouTube, and every streaming service under the sun.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
I think that's a wrap. Yeah. Now we chill. Now we sit around.
Now we just sit around, chill.
Hang out in the apartment for the last 4 days before we bail out.
History right now.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of a series, and you guys don't even know it.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right. Peace.